I was thinking, listening to everyone up here, I was thinking that the national news cycle tends, in my experience, it tends to have a longer kind of pickup speed. So unless it's something incredibly breaking, they want to do their research maybe a little bit differently. They have different people to talk to. When I've broken news to the national sources, it's always been kind of a larger story. And we've actually floated stories around for local outlets, and they've all said no, or they haven't been interested. So we've gone to national, and they've loved it, and they've ran with it. And it takes a couple weeks, and then it comes out, and it's a big thing.
And do you find that that's because you're kind of taking advantage of a national trend that may not have caught on locally?
It could be timing. If it's not relevant, or if it's not relevant, we had a situation locally where a local man was suing a very large bank. And, you know, it wasn't interesting for the people we pitched it to, and it may have been the day, it may have been that they had other priorities, it may just have been, we don't care. But, you know, USA Today was interested in it, the New York Times was interested in it, a couple big players were really interested, so we said, great. So it's always kind of the timing and the way that you phrase it. It's also, though, and I guess this is probably my biggest pet peeve, but it's also the look at me, I call it the look at me, look at me, look at me syndrome, which is sort of what you were saying, Abe, I think, when you said if it's just about me, if it's about my product I'm trying to sell, that's not it. It has to be interesting and newsworthy, especially for the national stage. They're not going to say, oh, cool, there's a new startup in Orlando. This happens every week, there's a new startup, yeah, right? So it really has to be interesting and grabbing, and like what Tim was saying, news happens when news happens. If your story is slated to run and something bigger and better happens, well, get pushed off.
And then maybe finding who it's interesting to.